Hi there, I'm Dr. Chung and welcome to your friendly proctologist. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I truly appreciate every single one of you that's subscribed and watching the video. On that note, would you click that thumbs up button and also subscribe to this channel? It greatly helps this channel to grow and I appreciate you for that. This channel is about giving you real and helpful information about your bottom end, and we have so many questions to answer because you want to know more. And I'm here to help you and do exactly that. And that's what this channel is all about. So the question today is, can I do exercises to keep hemorrhoids away? Can they go away with exercising your pelvic muscles? And I think the question is a really great thought because let me tell you, you're not the only one that's thought of it. And even if you've never said that question out loud, you're probably unconsciously doing it without even realizing it. And the original question was, can I do pelvic floor exercises to keep the hemorrhoids in the house? And this is referring to a previous video in the past where the hemorrhoids in the house were the internal hemorrhoids, because usually the internal hemorrhoids stay inside. They usually don't go outdoors. So let's kind of break things up here. Let's do the background, okay? And obviously, internal hemorrhoids is mainly what we're talking about here, but we can also apply them to external hemorrhoids too. You know, many people are trying to keep those guys inside, the external hemorrhoids I mean, because when they're sticking out, they can be swollen and really uncomfortable, and it can really be awful to sit on them, to walk around with them, or stand with them hanging out, right? So the internal hemorrhoids on the inside, and they pop out when they're big enough, and those guys are usually pink and wet because they have the lining of the intestine. The external hemorrhoids are on the outside. That's where they normally live, and they have skin covering. So they're usually the same color of your skin on your buttocks, but probably a little bit darker, because you know the skin gets to a darker color when it gets to your bottom end. All right, so what about pelvic floor exercises? What is the pelvic floor even before you get to the exercises? So if we were to imagine the anatomy of your body, right? First, we'll think about the pelvic bones, okay? And the pelvic bones, we need to think about that first because that provides the structure for the pelvic floor muscles. All right, so the pelvis is really a ring that goes sideways, okay? If you think of it kind of like a hula hoop around your hips. And that just kind of circles around like this, okay? And your leg bones, your hips, go underneath this hula hoop bar. And it kind of has some depth to it. It kind of goes up and down for a fair distance. But there are no bones on the top of this ring, and there are no bones at the bottom of the ring, okay? And so if you look at a skeleton in a museum or in a classroom, you can see that you can actually put your fist, if this was the basin of the hole here of the pelvis ring, you could put your fist and go straight down. And it's really just, you look down into the pelvic bone and you're like, oh my God, I see the floor. I mean, shouldn't there be like a rib cage down there? I mean, how did my insides not just fall out onto the floor? And that is because of your pelvic floor. It's actually functioning and helping to keep things up, right? Keep things suspended. It is carrying the weight of your body as well as other tendons, ligaments, other support structures, and all the bonding of these different tissues form the structure to keep your lungs, your intestines up. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's sitting on top of our pelvis, okay? Okay, so if you have this ring here, the pelvic floor actually attaches 360 degrees around this ring, okay? And then that muscle then comes down to the floor. So with the pelvis and the floor, because this forms a bowl actually. If you think about the top here with this ring, and then it comes down on all sides, 360 degrees around, it's just coming down to form the bottom of this swimming pool. And at the bottom of the hole is, you guessed it, it's your anus. It's your urethra, your pee hole. And if you're a woman, the vagina as well. And these muscles surround all of these structures, these holes at the very bottom. And these muscles actually are very thin. I mean, I've done surgery in these areas, and when you look at these muscles, they look so fragile and weak. But they hold so much power and such an important job and function that it's really amazing how our bodies are designed. But these muscles here have so much to do with how we poop, and they connect with our anus and our rectum, okay? And these muscles have a lot to do with how we're supposed to poop. These are the muscles, like I said in previous videos, that they are contracted when you're not supposed to poop to prevent an accident. And then they're relaxed, or you want them relaxed. They're supposed to be relaxed when you poop. That way things open up, the channel opens up, and then the poop can come out, right? And these muscles, since they are closely and very much related and turn into our sphincter muscles, they have a lot to do with our hemorrhoids. And I understand completely when people are trying to, as much as possible, avoid like a surgery, right? Because they feel these hemorrhoids coming out to the outside. Maybe your surgeon has said to you, you know, you're gonna need surgery for those hemorrhoids, they're too big. But you know that they're coming out, you don't want the surgery, and so you're trying to think of other ways to, well, not have them interfere with your life. So with your internal hemorrhoids after you poop, you may be pushing them back in. With your external hemorrhoids after a poop, you may be also trying to push those guys in. And then what do after you do that? What you do is you squeeze, right? You're trying to catch them in, like you're putting your finger in and then you stuff them in there and you're trying to trap them inside of the anus as if it was some kind of, you know, some kind of glove, and you're trying to close right around those muscles. And it's really a very ingenious adaptation. It's a very smart thing to do, because I mean, what do you do when if something's going to fall out of your hands, like a rope is going to fall out of your hands, and you're trying to make sure you got a good grasp, but you don't want it to let go, what do? You hold on to that rope and then you try and pull up, right? Because you don't want to lose grip. And the pelvic floor muscles, because they're related to the anus, you're trying to strengthen the muscles there. So you want your anus to be stronger. That way it has more power, more force, right? And you can actually hold that contraction or force longer when you squeeze. If you were to work things out, just like you work out any other bicep or your shoulders, you want the muscles to be able to withstand a prolonged exercise, and doing it all the time, maybe you can get better and it'll be easier for you later on, right? And these pelvic floor exercises don't just work the anal sphincter muscles, they also work the entire bowl. So what if you can strengthen them, and then just like when they prevent poop from coming out, can you get them to do the same thing to hold the hemorrhoids in? Right? And that's where the question is asking. These pelvic floor exercises which strengthen that bowl, it also strengthens the anus muscles. Can that be a good way to keep your hemorrhoids inside? Right? Are you following me? I hope you are. Trying to make the explanations very logical so you can understand and be able to see if this can be apply to your life. Okay, and I'll tell you that some people absolutely can. Of course, and that makes complete sense, and I'm sure you've tried it and you've had some good success. But there may have been times where it does not work, right? Maybe the hemorrhoid was just a little bit more swollen than usual, right? Maybe a certain day you were doing a lot more vigorous activity. Maybe you were doing a lot more running around and you really weren't able to keep them in the entire time. Maybe you were standing a lot, plus with that moving. That may have gotten you to say, "Oh man, they came out. That was surprising." Right? And so you think maybe you should exercise more, or maybe you think, oh, it's not working, what else can I do? But I believe that pelvic floor exercises are very important and would benefit anyone, whether you have hemorrhoid issues or not. Because strengthening these pelvic floor muscles, them being as fragile and thin as they are, they produce a huge function for our bowel function and urinary function that you can enhance your strength, enhance your control, and also enhance your relaxation. And I think for many people, relaxation can be very helpful on the toilet, right? Especially people trying to keep things in. So let's say all day long, you've been holding in your hemorrhoids, you've been squeezing your muscles all day. Finally, you get the signal to go poop, and what happens? You sit down in the toilet and you can't relax. You're so used to squeezing and concentrating so hard to keep that contraction maximized. And all of a sudden, when it's time to do the exact 100% opposite, go from 100% intensity to 0, you can only go down to about 70% for some reason. It's just not doing what you want it to. And so I think that there's pros and cons to this strategy, but can you keep them in better with strengthening those muscles? Absolutely you can. Do I recommend that you do pelvic floor exercises? Absolutely I do. I think it's extremely healthy. All of our body parts and muscles should get some type of exercise. It keeps us strong, keeps us moving, and keeps our body parts functioning more normally and prevents pain as well. Now, is this a good strategy to keep hemorrhoids in? I think it is. I mean, in my opinion, hemorrhoids do not need something done until they are really ruining your life, okay? And so if you don't want to have surgery right now, or you're not ready, or you want to see if these things can help you, well, I think that doing these exercises even now can help you in the future. And if it keeps you away from surgery for another 6 months, well then that may be a big benefit to you. Try and prolong things. Maybe you don't ever need surgery because now you found a new strategy and it doesn't bother you as much anymore. I mean, there's so many different things that could be happening and it depends on you. Again, I think the most important job of a doctor, and I take this very seriously, is to listen to the patient. Listen to you. The problems are in the story that you give me. The solutions are in the story you tell me. And it just all stems from there because you are not a textbook. I cannot just read off a treatment and say, here you go. It's like, go to the grocery store, pick up these ingredients, and then make your loaf of bread. It's going to come out perfect every time. No, the human body does not work that way. And I think doctors need to be more patient and listen, and then we can really start helping people and make people better. So this was kind of a little bit of a tangent, but I hope that you really enjoy the content of this video. I hope I answered your question, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.